Blessings in Jesus' name. I'm just at my mat here on the ground. And tired today. I've been eating all day. A man just came over and offered me food, but I can't just accept food off people because I have special dietary requirements. So that's the thing. And also, guys, really the help should be coming from the state. I will accept help from the state, but I won't accept it from people because they're already paying their taxes. The state should be the ones who are doing this. The state are neglecting me right now. It's not the people neglecting me. They're reaching out to me. But the state are the ones that are supposed to be doing the outreach here. That's the bottom line. See, the thing is, when the state recognise that you need their help and that you're eligible for it, then the help has to be sustained, and they know that. They don't want to put us Christians in a position where we have stability. They want to keep throwing money at the problem, but not solve the problem. So they don't mind if people are coming along with 10, 20, and many people have offered me money. I don't refute that. Many people have offered me cash money, they've offered me food. Some people, not knowing that I had, special requirements with my diet, would come over and offer me food. I would turn them down. They would be doing a good deed, and you just wouldn't want to turn them away, but at the same time you can't eat the food and you don't want it to go to waste. So one time there was a woman with her child, little girl. The little girl came over with the food, and I just didn't want to turn the little girl away because, she should be encouraged in doing good for people and loving on people and being kind. So I didn't want to turn them away because the little girl mightn't register with her, that this guy can't actually eat this food. She might just remember we went to give a guy food and he wouldn't take it. So I just took it for that reason, and I think I gave it to somebody else in need, so who can eat it. So guys, it's not that I don't want to take help, and I'm not too proud to take help. I'm not. I'm crying out for help. I'm pleading for help from the people who should be giving it. People are already paying their taxes. They shouldn't be expected to come along then and give me 10, 20 euros, or have to. Because there should be an organised way in which people who are genuinely in need get the help they require and deserve as human beings, that they're treated in a humane way. And this is not humane. It's going to be 3 degrees tonight. This is happening in 2022 in Wexford Town. In Wexford Town. They claim to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world. And this is how they're treating me. I've contacted many councillors today. Jim Codd, the Mayor of Wexford, the current Mayor, the previous Mayor, Mayor Lawler, Mayor Bell, many councillors who are involved in government, because I have rights as an Irish citizen. I contacted Tom Enright by email, who's over the county council. I contacted him also, telling them of my situation, of my sickness, of my dietary requirements, how long this thing is going on, my current physical condition, that it's not good, that I'm susceptible to injury, just going about daily tasks. They know the severity of the situation I'm in, but they're continuing to fail to help me, and I've made those councillors aware of it today. Now, I haven't received any responses or replies, but the sort of automated generic responses that would be sort of automatically sent out once somebody has sent an email to the office. So they'd just be automatic responses, like generic emails, but it's just telling you the time frame to expect or whatever it is. Like, we're not ignoring you. Your emails come through to our office, sort of like just confirmation that your email's gone through and that it will be dealt with in a timely fashion or whatever. Like, usually it's reasonable to expect the turnaround for a response to be at least 5 working days, you know. You would give an office that amount of time to deal with you, like, you know. That would be reasonable. Maximum 11 days. That's just the general running of things, like in the general expectation. But even at that, I'll be in the height of December, you know. So this has to be treated like an emergency, you know, because it is an emergency situation. If it plummets below 0 here, you're in danger, like, you know. And tonight it's 3 degrees. I know it's supposed to heat up a little bit, but it's also been 2 degrees here, and maybe less. Maybe it's been down to -1. It was forecast at -1 or 1. I remember some nights being very cold here, not really being able to sleep well. So the reality of the situation is what it is. And you know, they'll say all rough sleepers are welcome to Osnum House, even after you've told them that Osnum House isn't an option for you, as though that was some sort of a solution. So look, they can't continue doing this and act with impunity. You know, they're all aware of what's going on. They're aware of my situation. They're aware of my medical situation and my dietary needs, and they know that I'm a qualified nutritionist because I did the courses and I wrote the book. They know that it's not from a lack of knowledge that I'm in this condition. It's from a lack of being able to access and cook what I need to make as my staple in order to sort of remain healthy, you know. So when I was doing what I know works, I was healthy, I was fine when I was living in 72 King Street most of the time, because I was able to cook what I know works for me and eat what I know works for me, and cook enough of it and cook sufficient amount of it so that I was relatively strong and healthy and fit living in 72. I mean, people from the locality would know that I was down on the quay exercising and running and jumping, and so now I'm sort of struggling to carry a 10 kilo bag around. You know, I've deteriorated a lot. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm reacting to having negative allergic reactions to foods, and they know that's the case. Like, so they really are showing their ineptness and incompetency. Like, the outreach is non-existent. It's non-existent. There has been no outreach here. No government organisation has come here and said, is there any way are you being helped? Is there any way we can help you? Is there anything we can do for you? Nobody has. And I'm well known in this location. Like, I just met a man tonight, and he said, oh yeah, I think I know you from the newspaper. So people know who I am. Like, there's no excuse for this. Like, they know I'm up here at St. Peter's Square in Wexford Town, sleeping rough. They know it. Like, look how many cars pass me. That man just looked over at me. This is a small town. News travels fast. They know I'm here. The people in the locality know I'm here. The authorities know I'm here. They know I'm here. They're doing nothing for me. And I'm pleading for help. And they're saying, well, there's Osnum House. I've told them why that won't work for me. And many others have told them the same thing, why it wouldn't work for them. And that's coming from the emergency department in the council themselves. And then people wonder why I stopped going up to them and communicating with them, because they had become a source of disruption in my life and they weren't doing anything to help me. Now I'm being told by all of the Focus Ireland, Simon Communities and all those guys that the county council are the only way. And that's a lie. The only reason that somebody might send you to the county council is if they knew that you had refused communication with them, to sort of funnel you and hinder you even more. Like, if county council isn't working, would you not try to help the person? Like, what's the point in having Focus Ireland if they're just going to send you back to the council? What did they actually do apart from the council? What's the point of having the Simon community if they're only going to point you back to the council? What's the point of having Osnum House if they're only going to point you back to the council? So what they've done is they've made sort of the council god over whether you have a house or not. And that's wrong. Because if you're going to be an additional charity, surely you should have some sort of ability to help people, and they do. Because I know a guy in Wexford Town who's been housed by Focus Ireland and not the council. So Focus Ireland have gotten him an apartment. They gave it to him. They gave him an apartment. So they absolutely can help somebody in my situation. They're just choosing not to. And that's the reality, folks. Look how many people pass me. On foot. Hundreds of people. And they all look in. I walk down in the morning. I walk down with my mat, and I put my mat where I put my mat, and the mat goes the same place. The people who have businesses there, they know where I put my mat. I was only talking to a guy yesterday. I won't mention his name. There's no need, and he knows the mat is there, and he's no problem with it being there, and he actually offered me money at one stage. The people around aren't the problem. Like, you know, there's a woman that lives in St. Peter's Square there, and she came up asking me, did I want a warm drink? She said, I just live down there. Do you want a warm drink? And hot drink, tea, coffee, anything like that. I said, no, thank you. There's a reluctancy in me to accept help from people. It's the government who should be helping me, and they know it. And there's a complete lack of outreach, and it's just unacceptable at this stage. Like, it can't go on and them act with impunity, like, because they've been notified on several occasions. They know the situation, and they're refusing to outreach, refusing to reach out, given the situation. So, what do you do? Today I went without food and water again. Because if I was living in a house, I could budget a lot better and plan a lot better. I could buy bulk potatoes and I could buy things in bulk, and that would reduce the cost of them for me in general. And I might be able to manage then. But it's at the stage now where I should be housed, guys. Should be given a little bed sit or something. Or a bed and breakfast room or something. Anything. And they do have those facilities, like, for homeless people. And homeless people are supposed to be prioritised. Like, you know, if somebody came in, like, I'm not making excuses for myself now, but if somebody came in and said, you know, I'm done with this, like, I'm writing you a letter, don't contact me again. Would somebody who cares not say, right, well, maybe this man was hot-headed on that day, you know, he has a daughter there that's on the housing list with him, maybe we should try and contact with him and see if he's cooled down, maybe we should try and mend the bridge, maybe something was lost in communication, lost in translation, maybe there's an extra thing we can do for this person. See, if there was a genuine, actual care there, they wouldn't have accepted the letter as the final contact. If there was genuine care. You see the point I'm making to you? So they would have said, okay, the letter was there, but look, people get angry, people say things in anger. Let's try and communicate with the guy, let's try and contact him. But somebody who's willing to accept a letter like that first time and have no further contact, knowing that you want to get a house for yourself and your daughter, and that it's not just about you, would certainly try to make contact again. They certainly would, if they were genuinely trying to help. So it exposes a lack of care, and there's been no outreach at all. Now, I was serious when I wrote the letter. I don't want contact with them unless they're going to treat me fairly. But I would have to have an assurance from somebody over the council that they're not just going to treat me in the same ridiculous way again, because it's not acceptable. And I was treated abominably and ridiculously. I'm not going to go over it again. You can see my previous videos. But I was treated abominably. Absolutely abominably. And for years and years. For absolute years. And then they try and throw the blame at you. And they're the ones that are supposed to be reaching out to help people. It's pathetic. It's no good. I'm a 39-year-old man who's sick. It could be worse, it could be 70. But you shouldn't be homeless at 40. Shouldn't be. Like, obviously there's a reason why I'm not working. Like, I'm not a lazy person. Obviously the reason I didn't go into work is because I can't and shouldn't until I'm healthy and strong enough. My body's recovered, I've put on a bit of weight, I've gotten a bit stronger, and then I can go back to work. And that's reasonable. That's reasonable response. What would be foolish is going back to work, getting more tired, getting more malnourished, still not having access to cook your food, and then doing a 40, 50 day week. That doesn't make sense. And then you're in worse state, and you still don't have a roof over your head and a place to get adequate rest after doing a 50-hour week. And I did it for 3 weeks. I couldn't sustain it. Because you're doing your 11 hours, or 9, 10, 11 hours, and then you're coming out to sleep on the hard ground on the mat. They don't care. They don't care. There was no outreach attempt. Even after they knew I was working. They had no attempt to help me. So I've contacted Tom Enright over the County Council. I've contacted the headquarters in Dublin. I've emailed the Housing Department headquarters. I've emailed Dara O'Brien over the Housing Department, the Minister for Housing. I've emailed his office directly, and they've acknowledged receipt of my email. I've contacted, as I said, many councillors in Wexford, councillors in Waterford, councillors in Letterkenny, councillors all over the place, because it should be known what's going on at this time in Wexford. Because Wexford shouldn't be able or allowed to bury this. Wexford should pull up their socks now and be an example to other counties as to how they should treat people who are homeless, who are genuinely looking for work, and stop throwing people in the hostels that you're not regulating. You're not making sure that it's a healthy environment for everybody to be in. Because there's Class A drugs and Class C drugs being used in there. That's not good enough. The Bible says that society needs many guides. And the reason it needs many guides is because many of the guides are corrupt. And they'll guide it the wrong way. So that the ones who speak reasonableness and utilise reasonability will actually be the ones who will be heard the best, because their reasonable approach will actually be recognised by all. Of course it's reasonable to help somebody get strong who wants to work and contribute to society. And of course, if you know that they've dietary limitations, which even the prison system in Ireland knows that, because I was in there and had to communicate that to them. And when I was in there for a month, I came out undernourished because they weren't giving me enough calories, because the prison guards and those giving out the food probably aren't trained in nutrition and wouldn't know how many potatoes equates to a man's daily requirements for calories. They would just say, your little cardboard box now is full, away you go. Yeah, but you didn't put meat or the sauce or potatoes with, butter and milk in them, so they don't amount to the same amount of calories. You give me the boiled potato, it's far less calories. Even if you fill that box that you're filling for everybody else, it's far less calories than everybody else has gotten by filling that box. And most people wouldn't even know that. The servers wouldn't know it, the chefs mightn't know it. And so I was giving them the benefit of my experience, telling them I'm not getting enough calories. Can you give me more? And they weren't giving me more. Now they did try and get me fruit. In fairness, they tried to get me fruit. In fairness, they tried to get me the potatoes. In fairness, they did try to accommodate me most of the time. But when I went to the Midlands prison, they said, unless you wear a mask, we're not giving you what you actually need. So they were actually trying to poison me if I didn't wear a mask. Because giving somebody food they're allergic to and no other food is either you're intending to poison them or starve them because they can't eat it. And you know that, they've told you that. And their response was, this isn't a hotel. You can't just order whatever you want. They do have to cater for people with food allergies. I was treated abominably in the Irish prison system once I got to the Midlands prison. Ridiculously. If you don't wear a mask, we're not going to feed you the food that we know you're not allergic to. How ridiculous is that? Chefs working for the government should know the caloric requirements of a prison inmate and then cater for their allergies and give them the right amount of calories. It's preposterous that they wouldn't have that in the prison system, that sort of knowledge in the prison system. That's ridiculous. If they tried to give me eggs and stuff that I couldn't eat, eggs and cheese and foods that I told them I can't eat, well, put on the mask and you might get something else next time. That's what I was told by these people. It's barbaric. Sure, that's torture. I was tortured in the prison system. They put handcuffs on me, smashed them down onto my hand, damaged the nerve in my right arm to the point where my thumb was numb. It's ridiculous, the treatment I got in there. I was put in a strip cell the first day I got there. Stripped down to my boxers. Put in a sheet and left in the strip cell. Told, if you don't put on a mask, you're not getting any food. I was treated abominably in there. Absolutely. Abominably. And I never put on a mask. Because they can't force you. They know they can't force you. You've got bodily autonomy. They can't force you to consume anything. They can't force you to do anything. But what they do have to do is provide adequate calories for an inmate and cater for their dietary requirements. They have to, by law. So that's the difficulty for me, guys. I have to have about 6 pounds or 7 pounds of potatoes per day to get what a grown adult needs in terms of calories, because all I can eat is sweet and white potatoes, sometimes butternut squash, but that has less calories, sometimes beetroot, but that has less calories. The most calories you can get from a root is from potatoes, sweet potatoes, white potatoes. So they have to make up the majority of my diet. I can eat dates as well, but they're dried fruit, so it poses a difficulty. If you already compromised in your digestion, putting dried fruit in there isn't going to help. And I'm at this stage compromised in my digestion, and all I have access to is dried fruit and juices, predominantly. Anything else is too expensive to consume in bulk. Like, figs, dates, apricots, that kind of stuff. Anything else would be far too expensive for me. A bit of honey, but even too much honey is not good for you, so we just have to do our best. So I'm at the stage, obviously, where I'm tired, my body's weak, I'm relatively sick, so obviously I'm not going to quit. I'm gonna even if it starves me, I'm not just going to start taking the few quid people throw at me. This is the responsibility of the government. They have to, because actually they're the ones who are currently going about starving me, knowing my situation. And they do know it. because I make videos about it. People in the locality know. People in the council have been informed. The emergency housing unit have been informed. They've been informed. And it's not the first time I've informed them. I informed them 3 years ago as well of my dietary requirements. That's how long it's going on. So for that 2 years while I was in King Street, I was able to manage my diet quite well and was getting stronger and stronger as time went by. So that's what it is, guys. I can't actually do any more, but continue to reach out to them. I've reached out to them. I've asked them for help. I've gone to the head of the council, because I won't continue to speak to the people who have not done right by me. That would be futility. That would be futile. You have to go to their superior if they're not doing their job properly. I have a letter from the council claiming that they send people to Ozanam House, but they shouldn't be sending people to Ozanam House who have special dietary needs. They shouldn't be. Absolutely, they shouldn't be. That's why people with special dietary needs are prioritised. That's why people who are homeless with special medical needs or dietary needs are prioritised. They haven't prioritised me. They haven't reached out to me. They accepted first time a letter saying, I don't want anything more to do with this office, and made no further attempt to reach out to me. None, not one. They readily accepted it. It was almost like she was rubbing her hands together, as though she had achieved something good by receiving this letter. That was the attitude I was exposed to in the office there. They would see that as a victory. That's what it seemed like. That's what it appeared like, because her countenance changed. She sort of got a little smile or a little lighter on her feet when I told her I was giving her such a letter. That's sick. And absolutely no outreach since then. I'm only telling you the truth, guys. I haven't embellished. I won't lie to you. So hopefully now people realise that this is going on for 10 years. People might realise now why I eventually said, look, there's no point in me communicating with you guys anymore. You're not treating me fairly. You're not treating me like a human being. You're giving me the runaround. And you're not actually extending outreach to me or the necessary help that should be extended to somebody in my situation. All things considered. And they really haven't. They knew I was homeless, yet they still said, you're eligible for housing assistance payment, and still said, we know that you're renting, but we're not going to help you with your rent. Like, what kind of barbarism and negligence is that? Simply because I didn't have a typical lease agreement. Some people who are landlords don't know how to draw up a lease agreement. That should never be a barrier to receiving the necessary rent supplement, simply because they don't have an official lease agreement, when it's not necessarily required by law. You can have a lawful tenancy agreement and not have a written lease. So they should be catering for all different types of lawful agreements, not just formulated lease agreements. But you see, they're all in it together, so they want the people who would draw up the lease to get paid. But they're looking after their friends. That's a reality. They want things to be centralised. And these are ways of controlling things more, you see. These are ways of taking control. If you regulate things so that they have to come to you to spend more money before they get paid. Like, it costs money to get a lease drawn up. It's not free. And now they're expecting landlords to have to spend this sort of money before they make any money. And those who can't do it themselves would have to go to somebody to draw it up. It's not free, guys. It's expensive. And where are they going to recoup this money from? It might be just a guy with a room there trying to rent it out to pay his mortgage. And they're just making it almost impossible for that guy to meet up with a guy like me and get the job done. Without hiring expensive, services. It's not good enough. And they say that they're interested in helping people who are homeless and sick to get back to strength, have a place under them, and get back into a job. Now, I'm not complaining. What I'm doing is, of course I'm not pleased with the situation, but what I'm doing is exposing it before you. It's going to be 3 degrees tonight. It's going to be a fog, which of course intensifies the cold because of the moisture. Maybe there'll be a wind, and I'll just be stuck on the street. And I'm an Irish citizen, willing to work. And I've got dietary difficulties, dietary requirements, and they know that, and they haven't done what they're supposed to do. They haven't. Zero outreach. Zero. No outreach. Absolutely zero. And would they say that that's a good way to treat your fellow human beings? They've nowhere to hide now, guys. They absolutely have to step forward and do what they're paid to do. These people are paid to do it. There's absolutely no excuse for them not to do it. None whatsoever. They're paid to do it. And they're paid good salaries. And these are pensionable jobs. They do well on these jobs, guys. You're supposed to be able to do them right and take care of the most vulnerable in society. Blessings in Jesus' name.